What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? I'm the Godless engineer, and I critically analyze apologist claims to give you the best arguments and information so that you can stand up and use your voice. Today is going to be a clip from one of my TikTok live discussions. So if you want to get in on more of these kinds of discussions that are happening, I suggest you go down below and follow both of my accounts over there on TikTok. Today we're talking to a person that goes by American Eye. And we're discussing topics surrounding the election, most notably some economic policies and energy policies of both candidates. We will also dive into immigration and border security a little bit, as well as getting on the topic of transgender rights. So if you want to fuck around and find out how American Eyes got his ass handed to him by an undocumented person on the topic of immigration and border security, then please stay tuned. Hey there, welcome back, American Eyes.
Hey, I'll tell you why I'm voting for Trump, and I'd ask you why you're voting for Kamala, but I'll go first. I'll vote for him because, honestly, I never did better. The gas was cheap. I got paid better. My goods were cheaper. My bills were lower. My energy bill, I have natural gas, electricity, and, water just like everybody else, but I seem to do better. I'll give it, man. It was testy. It was questionable whether he should have been president in the beginning. Who wants a celebrity in? Kind of a smart aleck.
Right. Okay. Hold on. Can you tell me what policy did Trump enact that made gas cheaper, or was gas just cheaper in the past and now it's not as cheap as it was due to the fact that inflation is always a thing?
Well, I can name the policy right out of my top of my head, obviously, and I'm on my phone, so I can't just look it up without stopping the mic.
Right.
But the policy and not to I don't know which one it was or whatever, but we seem to harness our own resources that we have on this continent instead of trying to buy from other nations like OPEC and so on and so forth.
Okay, so for one, hold on.
Of our own stuff.
Well, right. Okay. So for one, currently we are producing more energy than we've ever done before, even under Trump. So that's
why are we putting it on the market to bring the cost down?
We are. Well, I mean, we are putting it on the market,
but the market to bring the cost down, correct?
No. So what you're asking for is a recessionary or a depressionary period. That's what you're asking for right now. If you want to blame somebody for the rise in fuel costs, blame the energy companies. Not the American government or anything like that. Blame the energy companies that jacked up their prices during the pandemic. And because inflation was so high, which was a global thing, which Biden and Harris did not affect the global market in any kind of policy that they did. Actually, the Inflation Reduction Act drove down inflation. Right now we're at like a 2.9%. Huh?
Then why is the gas not cheap? If the Inflation Reduction Act worked so good, why is the gas not cheap right now?
Well, because can you explain what inflation is to me?
Yeah, it's where the same dollar has less buying power because of
it's a measure year over year of how far your dollar goes. And so like inflation, right, it means that every year there's this positive inflation, meaning that every year as it goes by, like it's got less buying power, right?
So
what you're asking, hold on, American Eyes, what you're asking for is a negative inflation number. You're wanting negative inflation, which is actually a precursor to a recession or a depression. Do you want us to go through a depression?
No, that's a straw man argument to ask me that question.
No, it's not. No. It's not a straw man argument.
That is straw man, dude.
No. You're asking. So what you're asking for are lower energy costs, right?
Well, I mean that's a definite benefit.
Okay, so and you want the energy prices to go down to pre-pandemic prices.
You blamed it on the energy companies. I'm blaming it on the petroleum producing nations.
Okay. And their supply. But you're not answering my question right here. You're not answering my question. You want energy prices to go down to pre-pandemic prices, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so you want it to go down there. That's a depressionary period. That because that would include negative inflation. We've had negative inflation in the past. It's just that you have to be very careful with little to no inflation because that is a precursor to a recession or a depression. So if you want all of those prices to go back down, then you're asking for a depressionary period. That's why I'm
We had a
asking, do you
depressionary
want
period.
a
You're telling me
depression
we
to
had
occur?
That's what happened. Is you're telling me when the oil prices went down or the energy prices went down before pre-pandemic that was a depressionary period? It wasn't
No,
just
no, they've
that.
always no. They've always fluctuated like that. It's just that because of the pandemic, the inflation rose, and there was also, another big thing is that
Dude, the
we
gas
put
was like $4 a gallon, and then it went down to $1.80.
when was it at $1.80 locally to you?
I got it for $1.53 here locally, but our region was $1.80 average.
When?
I don't know the exact day. I don't know the
Okay,
year.
well, no. Hold on. Let's go with this. I remember when gas was 98 cents a gallon. Why the fuck is it not 98 cents a gallon now? Holy fuck. God
No,
damn it,
why
Donald
was it at
Trump and his
$4 a
Arnold
gallon?
Palmer
Why
loving
was it at
ass.
$4 a gallon, and why did it get to go back down? It's super high, $5, $6. I mean, do you not remember
You're
that?
just generally saying these things. You're not giving
No,
me
I'm
any
not
kind of
just generally
time
saying
frames.
You're just attacking it in all. Did you think that you got it beat in all directions? You're incorrect, dude. It's not the.
No,
It's not the
how am I incorrect? Okay, and
Because
also
it's
this
the
is my
oil
friend
producing-
Corey that's coming up
It's
here.
the oil producing countries that control the supply on the market
Okay.
that allows
Yes.
for our oil to be cheaper.
It's true. And do you want to know who negotiated with OPEC to have them reduce the supply they had due to the pandemic? It was Donald Trump. Donald Trump worked with OPEC to have them reduce the amount of oil they were drilling because of the worldwide lack of demand due to stay-at-home laws. Then OPEC saw record profits, and they decided to maintain an artificial cap. Following that, right, we have the United States greatly increasing the amount of oil we are drilling and refining. It is still not quite at pre-pandemic levels. It will be there within a year and a half, according to every single expert and every single statement by .gov websites. The fact of the matter is we are recovering. We are still coming out of the pandemic period. However, if you're going to blame anyone for higher gas prices, you're going to have to blame inflation from the pandemic, which really isn't caused by anybody, but you should be thanking the the Biden-Harris administration for reducing inflation back to pre-pandemic levels at this time now, instead of leading the United States into a recession, which most economists were predicting would happen. But also, we're going to have cheaper oil prices in the future because we're drilling more. We just aren't quite back at pre-pandemic levels yet.
So it's just incorrect to say that like we're not drilling more now, we're not producing more energy now, because that's just not accurate. Like we are, and we will see the effects because it takes a long time for those effects to actually pop up.
I'm just glad he didn't bring up Keystone, because if I hear one more person bring up Keystone, I'm going to lose my damn mind.
Yeah. I mean, what amazes me is that nobody thinks about what asking for a negative.
Did somebody say Keystone Pipeline? What?
Oh my God.
No, let's talk about the beer.
I'm playing. Yeah, no, I'm playing. I just, maybe I don't understand it, but in my eyes, I prospered much more under Trump. We could argue the policies of that. And honestly, the border wall, that's another thing I completely support. It has zero to do with Mexicans. It has more to do with other flowing across. I mean, we have documented proof of people from North Africa, from Asia, from the Middle East, just pouring into our borders. So why should we allow that?
Not really. Most people come here legally, at least according to any stats we have. Most people come here with valid work visas and then overstay those visas, or they come here seeking asylum and then overstay things there. Those are the ones who are here illegally still. But also, real quickly, because you said this before and I wanted to ask you this. What year would you say you had the most economic success? What year would you say you were the most financially stable, you were like the most financially secure, stuff like that? Give me a year.
2018.
18. So when Obama's economic policies were still primarily in effect.
Well, I got my journeyman electrical license that year.
Okay, so Conveniently
They had
enough, the year
little
you
bit of
like,
that.
I'm just going to point this out, right? Because we were still under Obama era economic policies, which, to be fair, I agree with you. Most Americans saw great economic benefit under Obama because Obama brought us out of a recession and basically brought back a new American economy, despite the fact we were in a wartime economy. So great. You can't thank Trump for that. Anyways, sorry, I just had to say that. But yeah, you were talking about the border wall, that you're afraid of illegal immigrants coming over.
No, I
Most
didn't
people
say I
come
was
here
afraid.
legally.
That's you're
Not
implying
afraid.
that
I
said that.
apologize.
didn't say that.
I apologize for misquoting you for saying afraid. You are concerned about people coming over via the southern border. Is that correct?
That is correct.
How does the wall
any
stop
border,
that?
Really, it doesn't matter the southern, northern. I mean, it's just more prominent in the south.
How does a wall stop that?
It doesn't stop it. It doesn't stop it. It just deters. It's a deterrent. It helps.
How is it a deterrent, though?
Okay, let's say that 100 people cross where no wall is. Now there's a wall. 3 people still manage to get in. That's just I'm throwing these numbers off the top of my head, but I'm saying.
Yeah,
there's
you're
gonna
pulling
be
numbers
fewer
out of
that
your
get in.
ass. Like, I
There's
don't
gonna be
understand this.
fewer-
You're
How could you argue that more if without a wall, there could be less?
Okay,
How could
first
you
of
not
all, have
argue
you
that
seen the
people that
walls
come
that
across
Trump
the wall-
had built? Americanized. Have you seen the walls that Trump had built?
Are we not
They
supposed
literally
to,
just
are we not
walked
supposed to enforce
through
our border? Every
the
other
slits
country
in the
world
wall.
has border rules. Why shouldn't we? If I was
do.
to go into Canada right now, no visa. If I was to walk into Mexico, you know what I mean? If I was to
You
get on a
can't
boat,
get into Canada without a passport or something. Like, you got to go
right,
through like
Yeah.
an
right. So
entry
if I
point.
just went over the border, what would happen?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you're
It
even
would be an
saying right
illegal
now.
crossing. It would be an illegal entry into this
Yes,
country.
it would. And then if you were caught, you would be detained by the Canadians and deported back to the United States, which is what happens to
because
people
they enforce their
in this
border.
country.
No, it
Well,
doesn't.
but we do.
Dude, I
We do
live
as well,
where-
right?
I live, I live where there's tons of farms, and I live where there's tons of construction going on right now. And I work in construction, and I know the ones that aren't. And I actually know people that own the farms that are working illegals. And yes, they should get in trouble too. We do not need that here. Why should we not enforce?
Okay. Fine. You want to go this immigration route? Then why don't you tell me why Donald Trump and the Republicans voted down 2 immigration reform bills that were gonna go through the
to some
U.S.
other bill?
government? Huh?
Why was it attached to some other
They
bill?
weren't. It was a
They
single
weren't.
issue bill. There were no writers attached to it.
There's the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021, which was the flagship bill that the Biden-Harris administration pushed through. Republicans voted it down. They didn't like it. And then the second one was the Secure the Border Act of 2023, which was a bipartisan effort that Republicans themselves crafted. And it was it was the more conservative bill, and conservatives crafted it. And then Donald Trump personally called them up and was like, don't vote for this. Why would he do that if he actually wanted to solve anything?
Because it was attached to another bill.
It was not.
Wasn't. It was the Secure Borders Bill of 2023. It wasn't attached to another bill. It was the bill.
Right, and Republicans would have been the one attaching the bill to some shit. What are you talking about? The Republicans would have been attaching it to something, and then the Republicans got a call from Donald Trump to vote down the bill that they crafted.
Maybe he opposed the bill. I don't know. I didn't ask him.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, we know why he.
Yeah,
we know why he opposed the bill. Do you want to know why he opposed the bill? Because the Republicans admitted this, by the way. This is not like there's not a conspiracy here. Mitch McConnell said it openly.
Oh, Mitch
he
McConnell.
opposed the bill.
Mitch McConnell. My God.
Yeah.
The least corrupt one.
I mean, there are numerous other Republicans who have pointed this out, but Donald Trump told the Republicans to vote this down.
The most establishment ones, right? That's right. The ones that are all in it together, right?
Oh my God! I don't have the time of day to point out the stupidity of this. With that being said, Republicans have admitted why Donald Trump wanted them to vote down the bill, and it was because Donald Trump does not have a running platform without blaming all of our problems on illegal immigrants. And literally, you can watch both the president and vice president debates to see this.
What problems? Aside from what problems has he blamed on illegal immigrants?
Housing.
Dogs and
He
cats.
blames the housing crisis on illegal immigrants. People who come to this country without any capital are somehow causing a housing crisis.
Where did he say that at?
I mean, JD J.D. Vance blatantly said it during the debate, and Donald Trump pointed it out during the presidential debate. I literally just said that he said it during the debate with Kamala Harris as well. He has blamed illegal immigrants for the housing crisis several times. Want me to pull up quotes? Because I can go grab them.
Yeah, get it.
Yeah.
Happy
So let me ask you this, Americanized. I'm guessing that you would be in favor of deporting all undocumented peoples, right?
No, I mean, I would say all that have any kind of criminal background aside from being illegal.
Okay. Well, I don't.
If they are known to be a thief, obviously any other kind of violent act. No, if they
is thievery a violent act?
Thievery is a violent act.
I said or any other, or that something, any other violent act.
Okay, well, I don't know if you know this, Americanized, but the undocumented immigrants that are here in the United States contribute over a 10-year period $4.7 trillion to our GDP. If you wanted to export, or deport undocumented peoples, why would you want to reduce our GDP by 5.7%?
More jobs.
They contributed. Americans don't want to work those jobs, and we actually. Yeah, Americans don't want those jobs. Florida saw this exact problem. DeSantis said that he was going to deport a bunch of illegals, so people left the state. DeSantis then had to publicly, not really publicly, but walk back. It doesn't. That's why people don't want those jobs. Yeah, that's not true, though.
More jobs, less people, money goes up.
Hey, no, that's actually not true, Americanized. That's the problem. Because a lot of the times, small companies and those farms that you're so butthurt about can't afford to pay people more than what they're paying. So guess what happens? The crops don't get picked, and then what happens? The farms go under. Right? Now it's not a great system. I agree with you. We should come up with protections for these people. They are definitely being taken advantage of fully. Mm-hmm. But the current problem is
put Americans in those jobs and pay more so that they'll be willing to.
Americans don't want those jobs. Have you ever worked on a farm? Because I've worked on farms.
Manufacturing job, we sent them to cheaper labor areas and exported the product, imported the product, exported the materials, and imported the product.
That's not really true, but also we are a shifting economy to a service-based economy, and more factory jobs are lost to automation than are shipped overseas. Mm. So realistically, Wally is more likely to take your job. In factories around the world. Around the world, but where are you speaking specifically about Are you talking specifically about chips?
I'm talking about electronics in general.
Because that would be China.
I could say LEDs. I could say, just tons of electronic products. All kinds of
Americanized. The point is that you can look at many different examinations, many different studies over the labor force, and the jobs that undocumented peoples take are regularly not sought after by native people
because they're low paying and have no.
Yeah.
No, they're low paying and they don't want those jobs.
Because they can hire the illegal for half of what they. The guy that says, "I'm not working."
Can we use the term undocumented person? I really don't like the term illegal.
Why? It's the truth. If they're here illegally, they're illegal, bro. If they broke the law to get over our borders, that means they're illegal.
They're just undocumented.
I think it's the truth, bro.
So, that kind of gets us to the root of the problem, isn't it? You feel like dehumanizing people who you don't like. And you're blaming them mostly from coming from the southern border.
It doesn't matter if it hurts somebody's feelings if I'm telling the truth. The same thing goes with the man versus woman thing. If you're biologically and truthfully,
I'm so terrified where this is going to go.
Yeah, me too. I'm afraid I'm going to get taken down by what's going to get said next.
What's the man versus woman thing?
If you walk around and expect me to believe that you're something you're not. I don't care.
Transphobia, got it. Okay.
If you clearly look like a man and I think you're a man, and my opinion is that you're a man.
Oh, great. So you think that many trans men are men. I totally support that. Oh, well, except for the fact that I think all trans men
I've never met what do they call them, masculine women that have appeared to be.
Have you seen Buck Angel?
No.
Have you ever set foot in a gym? Quite a few women there are pretty fucking strong. I'd say,
Strength has nothing to do with it. It's physical.
Okay.
All right.
I mean,
Out of curiosity,
physical differences between men and women? Is there not?
Americanized. I have a question for you. Let's say I say that I would rather you pronounce my name Corey, right? Let's just use that as an example. Would you intentionally still call me Corey after knowing that I prefer you address me as Corey?
Most likely not. No, I would not.
Why? Why not?
Well, when she corrected me, then I know, right? And I get your,
Okay.
you're gonna. I know I see where you're going, bro. I get it. But
no, I mean, I'm pointing out that you're giving me the bare
minimum.
minimum courtesy as a fellow human being. Isn't it just? Why is it hard to expect that you do the same thing for trans people? Right? They're not hurting you by just saying, "Hey, I identify as he/him." Right?
And I'm
what is hurting you
by saying that's incorrect?
No, you are. No, you actually are. You're actually devaluing and dehumanizing them. That's harming them.
I'm not them, and I'm not dehumanizing. I'm telling them, goddamn, that's the truth, man.
You are refusing to grant them the same courtesy you would grant any other human being. That is dehumanizing.
If I told you that my tree outside is blue, and you've clearly seen it was green, but I expected you to say it was blue every time we talked about it, does that you see how the reality distortion there kind of is odd?
No, I see how you're using a false equivalency.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
You just said with your name. You just said the same thing with your name.
No. I mean, this is not the same thing as Corey requesting to be.
I planted this tree and I've nurtured it from its inception, and I've given it every little piece of my life.
It's still a false equivalence.
It is blue. It is not green. I don't care what you say. You see what I'm saying?
Well, good for you. This is still a false equivalence.
That's the same ignorance I hear from that argument.
No, it's not.
Americanized, let me address a couple of things here real quick. So first of all, you're asking me to address a different tree, right? That would be like me walking up to you and telling you to call GE they, them, right? So first of all, I don't get to prescribe traits to another person. That is, or to another individual. That is what they identify as, right? So me telling you what I identify as is different than you saying your tree is blue. But also, we have certain words that mean certain things. Blue and green are colors that we have defined as like aspects of the light spectrum.
Because
they are very different than gender identity, which is a societal construct.
For the word blue, there would be no argument if we both agreed.
I agree with you.
Hey guys, how you doing?
That's actually true. Yes, it's amazing how language works. Sorry.
So hold on. Let's get back on track and away from the trans argument, because that's a disgusting argument for Americanized to make.
Fair enough.
Juan here in the comments says that he is an undocumented immigrant. Hi there, Juan. How you doing?
Hey, good. How are you? What's your name?
I'm John, Godless engineer, and Americanized down there has a lot of shitty opinions about undocumented peoples. Did you have anything that you wanted to say?
Hey, we're just people living here. I just happen to speak English more fluent than others, but it takes the same amount of effort to like pay your rent, go to work at whatever you work, and then come back. And it's just a shitty situation when cops pull you over and you have a freaking driver license from another country, and you have to go to court to tell the judge that you're in the middle of a process of regularizing your documentation here, and you have to and you have to go to the process of getting a driver license, a U.S. driver license. But that doesn't mean that I haven't driven a car before in my country. I've driven a car. Like I know how to drive it. I don't have all the documents to go to the DMV, to the NBA, to apply for a driver license. So I'm in the middle of like, I want to abide the law. I want to have a driver license, but it just sucks that there's not a way, a legal way of getting all these documents. You know what I mean?
Juan, if you don't mind asking, what country did you come from?
Ecuador.
So if I went to Ecuador and just went over the border undocumented, how would Ecuador's government handle me if I were to, say, get pulled over by the police or the military?
Well, about 6 years ago, it happened that a lot of people from Venezuela, they start moving out. Like people can't stand the poverty in Venezuela. So since the Ecuador has a dollarized economy, people making money in Venezuela, it was the equivalent of making $5 a month. But in Ecuador, the minimum wage is $420 a month. So if you go from Venezuela to Ecuador, like it will immediately increase 100% your pay rate. And there were like a million and a half Venezuelans undocumented. The government actually issued them a visa. They had to pay, I think it's like 60, 70 bucks. And they had a visa, and with the visa, they can get an ID card and then a driver license. So there was a process for it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Corey.
And that's kind of what people who are advocating for us to help immigrants here, help undocumented persons here, right? It's realistically speaking, they contribute to the economy.
I don't
they pay taxes.
Not at all. I think that every single one that applies should be totally vetted, and if they have any criminal history whatsoever.
Well, yeah, but if I can interrupt real quick, the current process for becoming a naturalized citizen or getting your green card or whatnot requires 3 different background checks. At least my understanding of it, and I don't know if anybody can correct me, but it requires at least 3 background checks that you have to go through over several years. And so, like, that's already in the process. You know, we just have to restructure our immigration system so that we can handle the amount of requests that we have. That's what
because it's too many, man. That's my point. We need to stop people just coming over all the time.
Hold on, Americanized. Americanized. Do you know how many Americanized? Do you know how many? I'm sorry.
You know what people are escaping from, like in
I understand that. I get it, but we can't. I mean, what?
But
we can't let everybody come here because they're going through struggles.
Americanized. Don't make me mute you, but I do want to hear what Juan has to say.
Yeah, like we don't come here because, hey, America's nice and you can buy McDonald's here. We also have McDonald's over there. But it means that there are terrible situations over there. Like there in Ecuador, there's a cartel war. We're starting to see like murders, like people hanging by trees, by bridges, and it's because they're disputing territory. We have one of the presidential candidates murdered in outside in the street because he said he was going to put an end to the cartels, and he was going to build a prison like they did Bukele that built a prison in El Salvador.
Also, real quick, but the people are fleeing here due to the result of American intervention for the past 75 years. Like, I don't know if you understand our own history, but during the Red Scare, we brought down economies, brought down democratically elected governments. We did not allow our southern neighbors to develop because we were afraid of them becoming socialist or communist. Like, we blatantly are the reason why there is this, quote, immigrant crisis at our southern border. And I'd also point out that the United States at our current levels, right, we have both the space and the resources to care for millions more. We throw away 38% of the food we grow domestically. And that's like, that is enough food to feed 150 million people a year. And we toss it. We don't export it. We don't consume it domestically. We toss it. We have the resources. Oh, sorry.
That's true.
No. You go ahead, Corey.
We have the resources, we have the space, and we have like the economic need for certain people. There is nothing that is stopping us other than political will, and to be blunt, bigotry.
And no. I do want to add here, Americanized, that as far as like the contributions of undocumented persons to like our economy in general, undocumented persons, they provide $11.7 billion annually in state and local taxes that they're not going to get back. Also, what they're not going to get back is the $12 billion they annually pay into Social Security, and that amounts to about $100 billion over a decade.
How are they paying these things in without the documentation required to work?
Because they work, and I mean, maybe Juan can elaborate on this, but they work. And go ahead, Juan.
You know what's the E-Verify? The E-Verify, that's a real wall. That's a system that matches your name.
How do you pay taxes to a Social Security number that you don't have?
Social Security number, exactly. So the companies send that information to that database, and it has to be a perfect match. If one character is wrong, it kicks you out. So I applied to Target, to Walmart, to all those big corporations, and they denied me because I don't use a Social Security number issued by the administration. What I had to do is get a graphic designer to do a Social Security card and put my name in it. And
so you had a Social Security card forged?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I work.
Well, right. So what Juan is pointing out here is that the system is so difficult for him to get work, but also because he can't claim taxes when he gets paid, which I don't mean to speak for you, Juan, but this is how I understand it to work. When you work and you get paid, they take taxes out of that, right? And they get paid to the U.S. government, and then there's no way for the undocumented peoples to like file taxes so that they can get a refund on their taxes because of their low wages and everything.
There's a way with an IT number.
Working, but they're not documenting their income.
Right,
what benefits are they also claiming while making an income that would disqualify them normally?
They can't claim federal benefits. They are ineligible for federal benefits.
State benefits. State Medicare, Medicaid, state food stamps, those things.
Nothing. Nothing. I work in a most state. They close down from January and February. They close down. The rest of the employees, they get unemployment.
Americanized. What state do you live in?
Southern state.
That's not helpful because I actually want to confirm what.
I live in Oklahoma, and
okay, be right back.
I have lived in Texas.
I'm sorry, but
hey, Lexi.
Hi, Godless. Like, what exactly is wrong if an undocumented person is collecting EBT or Medicare? Because
there's nothing wrong with them collecting it. It's that they're not reporting their income. So thus, for whenever they do earn enough money, that would disqualify them from the benefits, as I am enforced upon me.
American Eyes.
I started making so much money, I don't qualify for those.
American Eyes. I need you to calm down.
Because my money's documented.
I pay my taxes.
If I was to take a job
American Eyes, chill out for a second.
And I sent my wife to the Department of Human Health to for these benefits, I would not.
Americanized, I muted you for a reason. You need to allow people to talk. Okay, we heard you. I will let you talk before I end the live.
When she started speaking, she asked a question. I replied, and y'all cut me off.
No, yeah, because you replied, and now she has further questions. So just please allow her to talk.
You said no, but okay. Sorry. So there's millions upon millions of Americans that work under the table and don't report their money to the IRS, and they still collect EBT.
And they should also face trouble for doing so.
Exactly, but for somebody that's undocumented that doesn't have a real Social Security number, there's no way to collect DBT or any other social benefit. There's only one way to pay taxes with an ITIN number, but it's only a one-way system. You might get a refund, but you don't get benefits. You can only pay taxes
But your children will.
If my children are born here, they are U.S. citizens, but I don't have any children.
If they're not born here, they'll still receive benefits.
Also, real quick, Americanized, absolutely none of your tax dollars go to...
I'm fine with paying for the kids, but I think that the income that the parents make should be reported just as mine is.
Cool. So if they're getting paid, their income is in some way getting reported. But real quick, none of your tax dollars go to supporting illegal immigrants. They are not eligible for any state benefits in Oklahoma. nor are they eligible for the federal benefits or the federal taxes that you pay. Additionally, Oklahoma takes in more tax dollars than it pays out in taxes. You guys take in more federal funds than you contribute out. So, like, I find it very funny that you're whining about your tax dollars going to support people when realistically I'm from Illinois. I have to contribute. My tax money goes to helping you people far more than anything else.
Yeah, you're fucking yuppies.
Okay,
I'm just talking about people from Oklahoma.
But Christian, I'm sorry.
Hick and fucking fuck you, dude.
Okay, Americanized. You can be upset. Is he Christian?
Yeah,
but
he was definitely Christian. I'm sorry, I had to drop you, Americanized. Maybe you can come up some other time, but I'm not going to allow you to talk to anybody like that. I didn't speak to you like that, and I was definitely very frustrated with you earlier. So
I wasn't saying go fuck yourself, dude. I was just saying that American taxpayers support Oklahoma far more than Oklahoma contributes to helping anyone else. So it's very hypocritical to say that you don't want to, like, your tax dollars to support illegal immigrants, which they don't. They don't support undocumented persons in this country. None of your tax dollars do. It's just funny.
Like, the number one reason why we come here is for the minimum wage, because the minimum wage is so much better here. Like, $12 an hour, $15 an hour here in Maryland is so much better than working for $2.50 an hour in Ecuador.
right.
Yeah.
And still, it's not to pay rent and insurance and car and food and gas, and send money to our families.
Oh, they also have a 8.9% tax rate in Oklahoma, which is higher than what the top 1% of Oklahoma households, which pay 6.4%. So they are taxed at a higher rate. They contribute to your economy so much.
Yeah. Like I said, through the various ways, let's see, as far as like tax contribution goes, they do, undocumented peoples do $7 billion in sales taxes. Like, this is United States just in general, $3.6 billion in property taxes and $1.1 billion in state income taxes. So, you know, like it's a sizable contribution, like, to the American economy.
Like, for a lot of immigrants, it's a lot easier to start a business and get an LLC and then apply to a EIN, an employer ID number, and start like a cleaning business or a designer business, something like that. Because with an employer ID number, you can open a bank account. Like, without a social security number, you cannot open a bank account.
Yeah, according to the New American Economy research, undocumented entrepreneurs contributed $15.2 billion in annual revenue in 2016, which I'm guessing that's the last that we have numbers for. So, I mean, like, still, it's a significant amount, like, that's contributed to the American economy.
You say 15 billion?
$15.2 billion in annual revenue, and that's in 2016. So it's I don't know what it is currently right now, but that's what the latest thing that I have shows.
Also, this was brought up earlier. I just want to quickly point out the quote that Donald Trump in a speech in Tucson, Arizona said, "As the people of Arizona understand better than anyone else, under Kamala Harris, our country is under a thing called invasion. We're being conquered and we're being occupied by a foreign element." He went on to say that migrants in general are disproportionately occupying low-income rental properties. And so this is what's causing the rise in housing costs. He's saying that's what causes the housing crisis, which is bullshit. So, like, that's the quote, man. He's blaming illegal immigrants for the housing crisis.
Yeah. How are we competing with a 6-figure a year U.S. citizen to buy houses?
Yeah, someone with no capital whatsoever is somehow going to take away Americanized's house or outbid him.
Over here in Maryland, they rent like one bedroom for $700-800 a month, and you have to share the bathroom. And there's other people living in the same house, all renting, and you have to share the kitchen. Like, I was lucky enough to get a basement with my own entrance and a bathroom. but like I went through the process of looking at how people live, and oh my God, it's like people live too close.
Yeah. I mean, Juan, maybe you can confirm this, maybe you can't. I mean, because the way that it tends to work in the United States is that a lot of people do come here under work visas and then kind of overstay those visas for a little while to get more money, and then they do tend to oftentimes go back home. I don't know if you can confirm that's with with people you know or not.
Yeah, my best friend studied in Texas, and he got a degree, and with his degree, he got a job with an H-1 visa, with a work visa.
Nice. Yeah,
he's in the process of renewing that visa with every new company that he works. But there's no route to, let's say, you stay X number of years with a working visa, and then you can apply for a green card. I came here with a tourist visa, and I'm working in restaurants. I'm working in service industry, because that's the best money that I can make with my current situation.
I know a few people who are doing that, or they're working as au pairs or nannies, stuff like that, under their student visas.
Or DoorDash drivers.
Or DoorDash, yeah.
I don't know what you thought under the table is, but under the table people don't make a lot of money unless you're doing something that's illegal. But if it's under the table, you don't make a lot of money. I was a nanny for 12 years. I would make about $60 a month. Not $60 a week.
And also, I don't think he understands this, but like, if we get rid of people who are working under the table, like, there's not going to be a demand for working those jobs. Americans don't want to work them, and they're not going to raise the they're not going to raise the price for those jobs. We've seen what happens in the United States when there's when they need to hire more people. They do not raise the wage to make it livable. That has never once been a thing in the United States since Ronald Reagan took office. And so it's just silly.
Well, Juan, I really appreciate you coming up and giving a very unique perspective to the conversation. I mean, I'm obviously not undocumented, and so like having your voice up here was definitely very much needed. So I appreciate you coming up and talking.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Do you have any questions that you want to ask me?
I mean, I don't right now, at least. But you know, I'm hoping to have more conversations like this over the next couple of weeks. So. You know, if you ever see me online again and we're talking about it, definitely feel free to request up, and I'll definitely have you up here.
Absolutely, I'll follow you. And I do want Senator Harris to win. With Trump.
For Harris right here.
Show.
But I do need to go and call my son, and then go and do my workout stuff and everything like that. Lexi, thank you so much for coming up and having some good input there with American Eyes.
Of course, yeah.
Have a good call and have a good workout.
Yeah. Thank you, Corey. And Corey, thank you so much for coming up and helping out too. You were very beneficial in this conversation.
Corey, you were so
no problem.
It was so nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, it was nice meeting you too there, Juan. Thank you, heathens, for joining me today. I'd really love to know what you guys thought about any of the topics that we covered with American Eyes. What do you think about the economic and energy policies of both candidates? Which one do you think is better? Do you think Kamala Harris has a better plan, or do you think Donald Trump somehow has a better plan? Also, what do you think about immigration and border security? Which candidate is best on those topics? Which candidate has the better plan to handle both of those topics? And then finally, what's your take on transgender rights? We got into that a little bit in this discussion. I'd love to know what y'all think. So please go down below in the comments section. Let me know what you guys think. And while you're down there, why don't you smash that like button and subscribe if you like this kind of content. And don't forget to stand up and use your voice. Bye, heathens.